Good morning. I missed several days in a row of these quote unquote daily vlogs, so I don't really know what to say about that. It was a holiday, and that kind of threw me off my groove. And that's the kind of thing that happens when you try to cultivate a habit. You change locations, and all of a sudden you break the habit, or some kind of event happens, or something changes in your physical situation. So, yeah, holidays. I just didn't make a video on Thanksgiving, and I kind of didn't do anything normal on Thanksgiving. Like I ate a lot, and I usually don't do that. And then I just continue to eat a lot every day afterward. And man, that'll really sap your energy. So I just it was between having broken the habit and then feeling like I didn't have much to say, and then just being generally listless from like too many carbs, I guess. I managed to stretch out, 4 days with no video. And even today, I felt resistance because I'm like, well, I don't know. I got nothing to say. Like, why should I make a video? Not that it's really stopped me in the past, but you open a little window for like the self-doubt to come in, and it will just help itself, I guess, to your living space. So anyway, here I am. I hit record. I think one thing I wanted to mention is holidays are weird to me because once upon a time, my wife and I lived in Spain. And in Spain, Thanksgiving comes and Thanksgiving goes and nobody notices because it's not a holiday there, which sounds obvious, but when you live through it, it's really weird. And it takes some processing to realize, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, these people, and on the other hand, they have their own holidays that would just come up and it would be like, oh yeah, it's the Festival of the Virgin, of course. And I had no idea it was happening, didn't know it was a holiday until the day before, day of. So realizing that that stuff is arbitrary kind of gives you permission to think about it any way you want, I guess. And if you want to keep a holiday tradition exactly as you grew up with it, of course you're free to. And if you want to change it a little bit, I think that's probably what most people do naturally. If you want to change it a lot, though, or if you want to literally just say, I don't celebrate that holiday, like, these are all fair, valid. They come with different costs and benefits, maybe, but these are things you can do. And I think my thing is, since having my strong association with Thanksgiving as a thing where you do something every year and it's similar to being like, well, no one even knows what day it is around me, so I guess who cares? That left me in a place where now that I'm back in the United States where it is a thing, I don't really know what to do. I've got family spread far and wide, and there's a pandemic on, so it's not like it was going to be the standard everybody come together in one house and hang out. And if it's not that, then like what does one do? And I guess further complicated by the fact that the origins and the story of this holiday are kind of troubling to me anyway. So, do I want to buy into this kind of they lied to us in school holiday, or do I want to do something else? And I think the key is to come up with something else to do. Like, you got to have a positive vision. You got to be like, well, on Thanksgiving, I'm doing this for these reasons. You can't just say, well, the story about the Pilgrims and Indians is a lie, and so I don't want to celebrate. Well, okay, but you're still going to live that day, so like, what are you going to do? And so I've solved it by just being like, oh, well, we'll eat a bunch of food because that's what we've always done, and we'll just relax and feel grateful for the abundance of the earth. And so I kind of do that, but again, it just leaves me in this carb coma. Like, I don't think that's what I want to do next year. So I've got almost a full calendar year to figure out what I do want to do and make sure that it lines up with what my wife wants to do, and then just do it. But this year, for sure, it was just kind of, not complaining, but 4 days of just eating too much and sort of feeling lazy. The only thing I really did was I read a lot, which I like to do, so that was a great use of the time. And it feels like I'm kind of starting to break through to where I have a better baseline of understanding of some of the concepts and technologies involved in like the Web3 space, to where when I read something, I'm getting a little more confident with saying, that makes no sense, or that could be interesting, but what about X and Y and Z complicating factors? And so that's kind of exciting because that's a big sort of informal research project that I've been working on for weeks now. And for a while, it didn't really feel like I was making any progress. It just felt like I was kind of thrashing around in the dark. But I think I'm getting there, starting to figure out some things, still more questions than ever. But that was nice. I read about stuff like, Bitcoin investment theories, right? Like what is in the minds of people who are in public saying you should invest, you should go all in, it's going to the moon, whatever. And so this is a complicated topic. There's a bunch of different stories you could tell yourself that would lead you to conclude that it's a smart move to invest in Bitcoin. And you could tell yourself several of these stories or just one or two. And some of them are more plausible than others, and they all kind of rely on different assumptions about the world. Stuff is complicated, but I think that, every day I see more and more people complaining about the same thing that I'm sort of setting out to help with, which is just the polarization of the conversation, where you've got one side that's all in and they're like, no, it's the best, it's the future, it's going to solve everything. I read a thread that said DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, are governance on the blockchain is going to solve labor issues because they're automated, and so there's no room for embezzlement or something. And I'm just like, do we all really believe that the problems with labor boil down to labor union embezzlement? Is that a premise that anyone would accept? So that's one side that's kind of the maximalist. And then on the other side, again, there's just this dismissive kind of, it's bad for the environment, so therefore I'm done with it. Or there's a bunch of scams. Very true. So therefore I'm done with it. And so trying to walk this middle path is something that since I've set out the intention, I've started to hear more and more people sort of clamor for. And I've found a couple other people who are also doing it. So that's kind of fun. And that was my holiday. Hope you had a lovely holiday. I guess tomorrow I'll hit record whether I got something to say or not, because that's the game. That's what we're doing here. So have fun. See ya. Bye.